The other day we talked about Modern Warfare 2 and the lack of content that we had seen through one season by comparison to other seasons in prior games. I appreciate the support on that one. It was certainly a more get this off my chest type of video and kind of felt cathartic to talk about with you all. But in the process of editing that video, thinking more and more on the topic, it was somewhat surprising to me that we're in this situation given that more Modern Warfare 2 content is quite literally right there. Some of which is already in the game, we just don't have it built out for the 6v6 experience just yet. So if you'd humor me, I want to again just have a casual weekend chat with you and talk about the oddity that is the content distribution we've seen so far in this game and the odd disconnect between the world of Mazrah and the traditional 6v6 multiplayer experience, because by all indications, this should be a seamless transition here to give us even more content. So as we go along, drop your thoughts below. What do you think of the content distribution we've seen thus far? Do you think we'll get any of the referenced content here anytime soon or at all? Let me know down below. But anyways, let's get into it. So the other day we touched on the topic of maps. We'd mentioned that we had a very limited catalog of what we have on offer so far, like 10 maps for standard 6v6 at launch and only 2 maps since season 1 dropped 2 months ago as of tomorrow. That breaks down to 1 map per month, which unfortunately neither of those were original maps. So the question turned to, where's the expansion in the DLC for 6v6 and the regular multiplayer play? The answer is that it's already right there, we just haven't seen it. Because like we just said, there could be this seamless transition from larger world experiences to traditional 6v6, we just haven't had that actually acted upon. What started in Modern Warfare 2018 as a 2 birds, 1 stone sort of development has almost become the blueprint for what could be an incredibly efficient pipeline of content. Modern Warfare 2018, before Warzone was ever officially revealed or launched, started to piece together the world of Verdansk, right? The only exception in development was Karst River Quarry, which I think it was studio head Pat Kelly talking about how they drafted the idea of large-scale combat maps and then built Quarry as the first playable build of that idea. Then they built other maps to encompass the world of Verdansk simultaneously, hence why you can look out of Port of Verdansk, you can look out of Kravnik farmland, you can look out of downtown and see the other areas of Verdansk around you. But in Quarry, you can't do that. But from ground war, from the very inception into the beta to the launch, we saw this world of Verdansk being utilized for ground war and MP, then Spec Ops, and then eventually what would be Warzone and Battle Royale and Plunder. A large map, a large world with ported segments for various aspects of the game, later getting into even 6v6 with maps like Superstore and the likes. That's carried on and we have the same scenario now with Modern Warfare 2 and this year because there's some really killer areas that are hidden within the world of Mazrah, whether you've recognized them or not. Most, when we talk about at least 6v6, aren't their own dubbed points of interest, but instead are areas within points of interest, especially when we look at the prospect again of those 6v6 maps and, interestingly, a ton of remastered or reimaginations of maps that we've seen in the past. Believe it or not, we have 9 6v6 maps that already exist around the world of Mazrah that we haven't seen in the game just yet, just sitting there, begging to be made into some traditional MP ports. While we've seen maps like Fortress, while we've seen maps like Tarak, there are also a ton of other classic maps that are already in Mazrah. You have High Rise located in Mazrah City, you have the classic map of Quarry inside the Al Safra Quarry, you have Terminal in Al Malik Airport, you have Afghan in Satik Caves, you have Dome in Observatory, you have Newville, which is an original COD map for those that may not have played the original game. That's located in the Tarak area. You have Rust in Tarak as well. You have Showdown from COD 4 and Al Sharim Pass, and you have a loosely based Storm from the Modern Warfare 2 DLC Stimulus map pack. So that's 9 additional maps that could be added that already exist in some capacity. Now, my ignorance to game dev is absolutely going to show here because no way is it as simple as cutting and pasting, making a 6v6 format. But with a blueprint already in place for all of those maps structurally, to me, that's the bulk of the work already done. So why haven't we seen any of these introduced just yet, or could we potentially see these coming in the near future? So my question with Season 1 retroactively and for Season 2 and beyond is, what's the reasoning as to why we can't see more maps like this introduced when the framework exists for a lot of them already? And what's an unanswered question that I'm sure that we're going to see more in the coming weeks here to months is the ground war segment as well, because those maps, that's 9 maps that are just already established 6v6 maps that we've seen in the past Call of Duty games. That's not counting other areas that could come to ground war, because we haven't seen a ground war update just yet added to the map listing here for those, the larger play spaces. But almost certainly we'll see more coming in the future from Mazrah. And there is the prospect of some stuff coming from Las Almas, but we'll touch on that second map in a bit. But I mean, there's plenty of open areas in the existing Mazrah world that could be their own ground war maps. Mazrah City could be your comparable downtown Verdansk equivalent. Rohan Oil and Quarry, absolutely big enough to be their own locations. Port and Sawa Village easily could both work. Observatory, Akhtar Village, and Airport. I mean, we have plenty of area from all of those points of interest that could accommodate tanks, vehicles, large player counts of 24v24 all the way up to 32v32. So it's just the idea of when would that trigger be pulled? And what's even more fascinating is that that's only in Al Mazrah. As we talked about recently, there was that Las Almas map that leaked from the campaign as a sort of blueprint, but we speculated that this actually very well could be the next upcoming Warzone map because we've already seen maps existing fitting into that TAC map whenever we looked at it. I mean, we've already seen perfectly Santa Senya border crossing up in that northeastern portion of the map. Guijaro is in the southeastern portion of the map. My 3D artist who does the renders for the thumbnails, Mike, he was able to pinpoint where El Asillo was. So the concept applies here as well, where there's more maps that could likely be pulled from that. One of the big ones that was rumored from previous data mines was Favela. So, I mean, that's something that you could add to that classic map as well. Though in relation to that, this is a bit more of a distinction since Las Almas is rumored to be the next Warzone map. So I don't know how much we'd see this year, because if it is something that, as rumored, is under Sledgehammer's development and is being built out for that Modern Warfare 2 Part 2 kind of thing, while in theory we could have this discussion for those, I also really wouldn't expect that to have much weight until this upcoming fall or later on. But the principle absolutely still applies. Now, the only logical reason if we don't see any of these come, God forbid, I really hope that we do see some of these as filler to bolster out the offering we see each season, the only logical explanation I could have as to why these wouldn't happen just yet or why they might not happen in the future is, again, coming back to that Modern Warfare 2 Part 2. The rumored report initially alleged that the upcoming year's Call of Duty would essentially be a big expansion for Modern Warfare 2, but also partially new, like 50-50 kind of. The report put forward the idea that every single original Modern Warfare 2 map would be added into this package, but also include things like a new campaign and storyline, perhaps new weapons among existing ones, and other things of that nature to be a mixture of new and old. Now, if you look at the list that we just talked about, just specifically the 6v6 maps, of those 9 maps that are already sitting in Al Mazrah, 6 of those 9 are from Modern Warfare 2. The only ones that could be applicable would be Dome from Modern Warfare 3, Newville from the original COD, and then Showdown from COD 4. So if that holds up, in theory, I understand kind of why we wouldn't be able to see all of these just yet, but again, that's 3 more maps on offer beyond what we've already seen introduced that could be thrown in at any point, and especially if we also have more from Las Almas. Now, all of this to say, though, is that I hope these really only come as filler maps, things bolstering out the offering on top of what we'd already see for each seasonal offering. I'm not advocating for these to be the only maps that we end up seeing in Modern Warfare 2 and the DLC seasons to follow, but more so kind of being like just the emergency stop here, because 2 maps per season, like we just mentioned with Season 1, it's wildly unacceptable from my perspective, when in the past, Modern Warfare 2018 and Cold War were introducing at points 8 to 9 maps a season with some initial introductions of things like gunfight and things of that nature. So to go from that to go to a game now that was meant to be the next biggest thing in COD to having only 2 per season, that's just, I don't understand that. My formula, if I were to have my way, is baseline, build out 3 maps per season, new and original maps, throwing in maybe one of these maps from Al Mazrah to round out the total offering to like 4 at least. 4, 5, 6 even I'd take, absolutely. 2 maps at launch, 2 in mid-season, minimum. Yes, I would absolutely love more, but to go from 2 maps a season to then maybe 8 or 9 like we've seen at the peaks of other games like Modern Warfare 2019 and Cold War, I think that's even less likely to happen. But I mean, when we take a look at it, Al Mazrah has a host of maps that could work right now. So I guess the biggest question is, will we see these at all? I mean, otherwise I feel like it's just wasted potential, but they're right there. So that's it. That's what we're going to call it. I just want to talk to you guys real quickly about how there is potentially more up on deck, but I mean, it's just a matter of actually doing it, transferring those over into the multiplayer experience. But for now, that's what we're going to call it. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down below. Would you guys like to see any of those 9 maps that are already existing within Al Mazrah introduced into the traditional multiplayer experience? Do you think that we will see those at any point? And if so, when do you think we'll see them? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and anything COD related. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.